Gupta, former Vice President CSR JCB India, please on the stage. May I now invite Ms. Prachi Sharma, Vice President Corporate Strategy Quantum Papers on the stage, please. Next panelist, Mr. Sandeep Kumar, Head HR Operations India, Sodexo India, please come on the stage, sir. And Ms. Debjani Saha, AGM Marketing, Premas Life Sciences. So as I shared with Malini ma'am, so I was going through her profile, she shared with me. And believe me, you guys, I mean, we really have very learned speaker today in today's HR Conclave. So we are once again, ma'am, very fortunate to have you in today's program. So she's a development professional and practitioner with 3 decades of experience in rural development and social change projects, with a bachelor's in geography from Moderator House, Kolkata, and master's degree in rural development from Xavier's Institute for Social Science, Ranchi. Malini has worked with government, non-government agencies, private sector, academia institutions and projects both in India and international. She is widely traveled, and the core of her experience lies in community mobilization, entrepreneurship, women's rights, microfinance, humanitarian projects, both earthquake and flood response. She has designed, contributing to and managed local projects as well as national and international programs and campaigns. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. Now I hand it over to you.
Now, can you hear me? Yes. Thank you, Gurdarshan, for that introduction, and thank you, PhD Chambers, for having us on this panel. We will be very mindful of the time because 2 of us are scheduled to leave. So straight away into the panel. I was very interested to see that the previous panel, which was a panel on tech, had no women on the panel. So maybe the change, the imperative change starts from PhD Chambers. I'm sure you'll find women or in tech. So maybe we should try starting from there. But a very important session today, the women workforce and the imperative shift. Looking at this gathering today, and for many of us in our workspaces, it sometimes seems pointless to discuss women joining or staying in the workforce because we tend to see a lot of empowered women around us. It's part of our daily life, whether you're traveling in the metro or you're going to your workplaces. But however, it's interesting to see that as soon as you move under the surface, many nuances of inequalities still come up. I will quote a recent UNDP report which has stated that after 10 years, till today, 9 out of 10 people retain a bias which is against women. And this has not changed, interestingly, in the previous one that was done 10 years ago. Interestingly, in these 10 years, there are more women who are educated, there are more women who are skilled, and yet the bias has not gone down. The differentiation in the wage gap has still not gone down. It is still up to 40%. Women get paid on an average 40% less than men get paid. So somewhere something still needs to change. Yes, women are being educated. Yes, women are being skilled. Yes, women have more bank accounts. Yes, women have more money. Yes, women have more independence. But somewhere something is not falling into the slots. So today, and I will quote the UNDP report and see what it has to say about how this can be resolved. The UN report calls for women's economic contributions to society to be better recognized, including unpaid work, and Sandeep, this is what we were talking about, for laws and measures that ensure political participation to be enacted, and for more action to fight stereotypes. Now this is at the macro level. We have a most exciting panel put together here, and we will hear from this panel what is it like at the micro level. So these are all large words that the UNDP uses. Before I just introduce the topic, I'm looking forward to introducing my panelists. We have with us Prachi. She's a chartered accountant by profession and a very proud mother of two. She has an experience of more than 2 decades, but prefers to describe herself as a leader and a strategist. She believes very firmly in the work-life balance and uses music and travel as a stress buster. Welcome, Prachi. So excited to hear what you have to tell us. Next to Prachi, we have Debjani, who's a scientist, and not a scientist only, but scientist at the cutting edge of science. She describes herself best as an evangelist of genome sequencing, the democratization of genome sequencing. So we'll get to that, Debjani. Very, very excited to have you here. Debjani has already made that imperative shift. She is a scientist by profession and training, but she chooses to be in the business of science. So we have somebody who's a business leader, but a science graduate and an enthusiast and passionate about science. And we have Sandeep with us, who is an HR professional and the only HR professional on the panel, which is interesting. I am also not an HR professional. 25 years in the sector, now managing a team of more than 50,000 people on the ground, 140-member team of HR professionals himself, and yet somebody who very truly believes in thinking out of the box and looking out of the window. And we'll come to his ideas and his thoughts about this imperative shift in a very short while. Now, I'm going to give a small example from myself, my own experiences, to say that though it may seem very difficult, though it may seem that things sometimes do not change, but change is possible. And sometimes the simplest things allow for change. Gurdarshan mentioned that part of my experience has been humanitarian work, which means working in areas of floods or earthquakes. Now, typically when something like this happens, the organizations that work for providing the support have to be there in 24 hours time. Now, one of the organizations I was working for, CARE, had a lot of women staff, but somehow found that the women are not volunteering for the humanitarian work. Now, when CARE was asked that you have to increase the number of women, so CARE said, I'm very surprised as to why women are not going to humanitarian areas or these projects. So they said that maybe it's in very remote areas. So CARE said, no, our women are posted in remote areas. Maybe it requires them to be more mobile. No, our women all drive jeeps. If any of you are in the government, you know those blue and white jeeps that the government has, the ICDS workers, we used to all be given jeeps. And it was compulsory for all CARE staff to drive their own jeeps. So we had women staff posted in districts, and we all had district postings only. So then CARE said that we are very mystified as to why women are not volunteering for this role. So the CARE's HR came up with a very simple solution. They said, let's ask the women, why aren't you going? What's holding you back? And they said, when they spoke to the women said, we are very good, we will do this work very well, but we can't go within 24 hours. You have to give us at least 48 hours, 3 days. I have to organize my house, then my house will be taken care of. But that first round of organizing, telling the children, telling my parents or my in-laws or my husband or whoever is at home, once you give me that initial time, then I can go and stay. And that changed. And then there were women, so often these solutions are staring at us in the face, but we don't find enough wherewithal to reach that space. So I'll come to the context of the imperative change that needs to happen. And let me start with you, Prachi. Who do you think that this shift that needs to happen? We spoke about a micro level and we spoke about a macro level. So obviously change has to happen at different spaces.
Absolutely.
Who and where do you think this change should come from? What are your thoughts?
I hope this is working. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes.
Perfect. So Malini and I, we met for the first time over lunch and we were discussing that where is this shift and I'm happy to see so many women in the audience today, but how do you really bring about this shift? We see the change, a lot of us are here because we are part of the change. But I think, it might sound very poetic, but I was telling her it has to start in the womb. I think for us, in India especially, in a lot of developing nations, the first step is within the family and the acceptance of the mother that she's going to have a child, and of course we don't know what the gender is. But if I have a daughter, or the family has a daughter, that daughter has to get the exact same experience growing up as a man or a boy child would get. So the first change has to happen within us, where we accept that women or a girl child is as good, if not better, I beg pardon of the men here, than a man or a boy. So that shift first has to happen within, and then the acceptance of the family man. That we have been blessed, we have a girl within us, and we are going to empower this girl throughout her journey in life and make sure that she's capable of going out there and making a difference. And Malini mentioned I'm a finance person, and of course, I was trying to do some study and read up before I reached here. I've never been on a forum like this. And interestingly, women are so much important to the GDP of a country. I read a study that said that if you add 10% women to your workforce, you can actually, India itself can take its GDP up by $770 billion by 2025. That's the collective power of women. So the imperative shift, Malini, has to happen within us. We have to realize that we are part of this journey, we are capable, and we can go out there and make a difference in the world. And other than the financial numbers, I think the other things that need to happen are the regulatory bodies which need to step in and say, you know what, at the end of the day, it takes a man and a woman both to run this world. And let us empower women and let us give them a place on the table. Let us allow them to come and sit together. It's so wonderful to see you all sitting here today. A mix of men and women rubbing shoulders, being on the same table. That is so important. And the SEBI has made it mandatory for one woman to be on the board of a listed company. I myself am part of a listed company, not on the board of directors. But still, I think that's such an important step because it also adds a certain differential value. You can think differently. You can add a certain twist to the entire story, be it corporate or otherwise. We can set up in certain nuance a differential view. I think that is what we bring to the table. And I think we've spoken that it's us, ourselves, women, first of all, who have to advocate more women. Please advocate for inclusion and diversity at your workspace. Accept women. You have gone through your challenges when you've gone up the corporate ladder. Empower the women who join. We recently hired a lot of women in my own team. And one woman is coming back after her pregnancy and 3.5 years of working from home thanks to COVID times. So her longevity at home, which was generally now thankfully 6 months by the government instead of the 3 months that we got, a really long time back, she has got that 3.5 years now at home. Just moving out of that comfort zone, coming back to work. I think it's because, she told me it's because of a supportive mom, a supportive husband, and a supportive child also, who is saying, ki, okay mama, you can go to work, I'll be a good child, I will manage. So I think there are a lot of nuances to this, and it's a 360-degree approach. Everybody has to chip in. And please believe that you are at the center of this 360-degree circle. And start with yourself as a woman. First, make sure that you are capable of going out there, and then the shift, I think, Malini, is bound to happen. That is my take, and I'll be mindful of the time, Malini. I think I'm done. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prachi. Very well said. So true, and it resonates with all of us. I couldn't have said it better. We will ask the others also to join in a bit. coming to you, Debjani, this shift that needs to happen, and you've made a substantive shift yourself. What are the things that you think need to change? Prachi said where all or who should be involved in the change. But what are the things that you think needs to change? You've challenged stereotypes. What are your thoughts about what needs to change?
I think to begin with, the very fact that a lot of women, and I say it, because I've been a part of this entire change, also suffer through an imposter syndrome. We are taught from very early on to be nice and caring and compassionate and all of those things. But the moment you're talking about competition, competitiveness or aggressiveness or chasing your vision, somewhere all of those words put us on a back seat. And this has happened to me also, so drawing from my own story, I come from an academic background, and when I was actually contemplating this career shift or transition, this is about a decade back, a lot of people told me that why are you making this decision? Because the natural thing would have, been to pursue academics, which is thought to be a more, suitable profession, quote unquote, for women. Because, you have that flexibility, you can go teach, whatever, do your research at your own pace, rather than join the industry where it's going to be competitive, very aggressive. You would want to travel. I have a young child, so it's basically taking time off from your responsibilities at home, etc. And the people asked me to second think my decision. But somewhere I knew I wanted to be a part of the industry, and that's where I thought, okay, fine, we'll take it as it comes. And of course, there's going to be, hiccups. Of course, there's going to be also, unwiring yourself to think about the commercials of a business, which is something which, again, people don't think comes very naturally to women. Exactly. People don't expect women, and of course, Prachi is, of course, a complete antidote of that. But usually, people don't think women, even though our finance minister is also female, but you don't actually think women to think, finance or think numbers or be, tuned to business acumen. So I had to basically stay afloat at least for some time, because I was a biologist, unwiring myself and rewiring to think financially or commercially or basically think about the business end of things. So I think belief should be emanating from within you. That belief needs to change, that I can do it. Secondly, I think you need a supportive ecosystem, right? Whether you want it or not, again, drawing from my own experience, a lot of times I'm the only female in the boardroom or in the business meeting. Because a lot of clients are male, a lot of the other people that I go with are also males. So you have to make your voice heard, right? Also, if I'm accompanied by somebody who's a female, who's probably a little younger, I'll have to ensure as a leader that she's heard, because there is a tendency, again, it might be passive aggressive or it might just be unconscious, that the female opinion is often brushed aside, especially if she's the lone voice in the room. So, I think we need mentors, we need equal avenues for learning and development, we need supportive ecosystems, but most importantly, we, I think, have to get over this imposter syndrome, which often plagues women, that it's lonely at top, or so there is this interesting thing, right, that if suppose a job description is put out, a man, even if he matches 80%, suppose if he's matching 80%, he's going to apply, or maybe 70%, he's going to apply. A woman, because she's lacking that 20 or 30%, will hold herself back. I think that really needs to change. I think we should believe in ourselves.
Very true. Again, you have said it better. And it's something that many of us, whether we are men or women in this room, have gone through exactly the same circumstances and experiences. Now, to end the first round, Sandeep, you come into this group as the only HR professional here, and in your 25 years, often of a very unusual kind of HR, what are the things that you have felt, or examples that you can share with us, where you felt that HR in its role, what kinds of systems, processes, approaches, attitudes have helped you push this kind of a shift? And we've discussed some of this earlier, so we'd be very happy to then hear from you.
Yeah, thank you. Am I audible? Yes. So let me start with why we should do this. So there is a big business sense in having diversity. People used to think that लड़की है इसको भी मिलना चाहिए, पढ़ाई भी क्या किया है इसको भी जॉब मिलना चाहिए. Initially we started with sympathetic note. They should also do. Otherwise they were doing nurses job, teachers job, doctors job, particularly related to female elements. So, but I represent a company called Sodexo. So we have been commissioning some researches, and I would like to share some data to tell why we should do it, right? So if I look at this data, it tells me that if your company has a very good diverse gender ratio, your innovation increases, right? And it increases by 87% more. All of your effective active ideations are increased by 87% more if you have a better gender diversity. So that's why you should have. Okay? Then the next one is, it boosts your overall performance and profit. And the study says it normally increases your profit by around 12%. So which is another reason why you should have it. Then the third one is, it obviously improves your brand image, which creates more revenue opportunity. And it increases your employee retention. It increases your employee retention chances by over 5 times. We are talking about lots of AI equipments which will retain people and all. But you create a diverse workforce, you will have a more retained employees. That is one of the statistics it is talking about. Now, as both of you are talking about being on the board and all, how it helps. So again, there is a data which tells that if you have a leadership which is well represented by gender, your chances of revenue going up is 38%. So 38% more revenue you can earn if you have equal representation and good representation of female at the board level, right? And then, of course, if you have leaders at all the levels, at all the hierarchy levels, then your chances of increasing your profitability goes by 27%. So these are some of the statistics which tells that you should have gender diversity. It's not a fad, it's not a thing which we need to talk. We need to accommodate females because they are also educated. We need to accommodate technical talent because they are educated in engineering. That's why they should get a job. Those are all possibly some thought processes, but the crux of it is it makes business sense, and that's why you should do it, right? Now the question which you were asking that what I have done or how we have done. So fortunately for my company, the current company, and I'll compare it to my previous company where the diversity was not very high. I can clearly see that because my company is one of the best companies in the world as far as gender diversity is concerned, we are doing very well in all these parameters. Our chairperson is a woman. 38% of our senior leadership globally are females. My India leadership is around 28% represented by females. And across the globe, we are one of the few companies which has 56% female representation and only 44%. And please understand it is very difficult to do in a company like us where majority of our people are blue collar workers. They are doing the housekeeping, they are doing the kitchen helper work, they are doing the chef, they are doing all kind of roles which is traditionally not supposed to be done by them. We have all types of problems in terms of, like I'll give you an example, and where we need to collaborate, like I'm talking about business growth, in our kind of context it can happen only if my client is happy and if the client is ready to support in my gender diversity issue. So one of the examples where my client said we had this unique jugaad at a very remote place where we're not getting females, that we will give jobs to both male and female. Both the spouse, you can come together, husband and wife, come and work together. Flip side of that, we were told this is not allowed in our company. After 2 years, we were told that remove one of the spouse. Okay? And I'll tell you, we removed 28 of them and we lost that business. Because our services started getting affected and we lost our business. So directly I can tell how it helped and how it spoiled. Right? I'll give you another example, and this we do on a daily basis. Whenever we have to push the envelope slightly higher, we'll go to the client, say, sir, we are running your canteen and we want to increase the diversity. The first reaction is, no, don't do this. All this I don't know. Just keep it aside. You have to work 24/7. How female will come? I say, sir, government is telling that factory can hire females 24/7. Then why are you stopping? Government को रहने दो यार. ये नहीं होगा, practically नहीं होगा. So this is what is the problem. But we keep on pushing. So they come with all kinds of excuses. We don't have change room for women. We say, sir, at our cost, you just give us space, we'll create one. With lots of reluctance, they'll say, okay, create one. Then after that, gradually, but I'm very happy that we have so many such stories where we have pushed and we have created very large presence of female. And in India, against our global 56%, we have reached to around 23%, which varies from state to state. If I come to North India, it is around 12%. And it tells what kind of society we have in the North Indian part of this part of the country. If I go to South, Lakeside, Chennai and all, 37% gender diversity. Because very important, as she was telling, that starts from home, from your society, the surrounding, the kind of atmosphere your society is creating, the state is creating, overall the country is creating, gets rubbed off, and that helps us in pushing that into the further. So definitely lots of struggle, but since all of you or many of you are HR people, first is you need to show that value to your CEO, that it's not only for some quota, sir. CB ने बोला इसलिए एक रख लेते हैं. Please don't start with that mindset. It really makes business sense to please start adding female at every level. It will improve all those parameters which I talked about, and that's why we must do it. And then of course you will have lots of resistance because we have old school thought people, not only in your company, your consumers, your clients, everywhere, but you need to pick up those positive threads which are going to help you. I'll give you another example. Around 8 years back, I had just joined this company. I went to a very prestigious hospital in Delhi, and with my diversity agenda, I was talking to my client who used to be from a veteran from a hospitality sector. He said, no, I would not allow stewards, female stewards. I cannot handle, you give me only male. Now again, look at the business requirement. Unfortunately, they had a bad incident in the maternity ward. In the maternity ward also, a male was going and serving food to the females. So they had some complaint by the client or the consumer that how come you are allowing a male to come and serve me food? And immediately that same guy started chasing me. That immediately tomorrow I need 5 stewards who are females. Right? So that's how, if your consumer is aware, if your consumer wants, demands, and you are aligned with that, you will get a lot of headroom to get that's effective active ideations are increased by 87% more if you have a better gender diversity. So that's why you should have. Okay. Then the next one is it boosts your overall performance and profit. And the study says it normally increases your profit by around 12%. So which is another reason why you should have it. Then the third one is it obviously improves your brand image, which creates more revenue opportunity. And it increases your employee retention. It increases your employee retention chances by over 5 times. We are talking about lots of AI equipments which will retain people and all. But you create a diverse workforce, you will have a more retained employees. That is one of the statistics it is talking about. Now, as you both of you are talking about being on the board and all, how it helps. So again, there is a data which tells that if you have a leadership which is well represented by gender, your chances of revenue going up is 38%. So 38% more revenue you can earn if you have equal representation and good representation of female at the board level, right? And then, of course, if you have leaders at all the levels, at all the hierarchy levels, then your chances of increasing your profitability goes by 27%. So these are some of the statistics which tells that you should have gender diversity. It's not a fad, it's not a thing which we need to talk. We need to accommodate females because they are also educated. We need to accommodate technical talent because they are educated in engineering. That's why they should get a job. Those are all possibly some thought processes, but the crux of it is it makes business sense, and that's why you should do it, right? Now the question which you were asking that what I have done or how we have done. So fortunately for my company, the current company, and I'll compare it to my previous company where the diversity was not very high, I can clearly see that because my company is one of the best companies in the world as far as gender diversity is concerned, we are doing very well in all these parameters. Our chairperson is a woman. 38% of our senior leadership globally are females. My India leadership is around 28% represented by females. And across the globe, we are one of the few companies which has 56% female representation and only 44%. And please understand, it is very difficult to do in a company like us, where a majority of our people are blue collar workers. They are doing the housekeeping, they are doing the kitchen helper work, they are doing the chef, they are doing all kind of roles which is traditionally not supposed to be done by them. We have all types of problems in terms of, like I'll give you an example, and where we need to collaborate, like I'm talking about business growth. In our kind of context, it can happen only if my client is happy and if the client is ready to support in my gender diversity issue. So one of the examples where my client said, we had this unique jugaad at a very remote place where we are not getting females, that we will give jobs to both male and female. Both the spouse, you can come together, husband and wife, come and work together. Flip side of that, we were told this is not allowed in our company. After 2 years, we were told that remove one of the spouse. Okay? And I'll tell you, we removed 28 of them and we lost that business. Because our services started getting affected and we lost our business. So directly I can tell how it helped and how it spoiled. Right? I'll give you another example, and this we do on a daily basis. Whenever we have to push the envelope slightly higher, we'll go to the client, say, sir, we are running your canteen and we want to increase the diversity. The first reaction is, no, don't do this. All this I don't know. Just keep it aside. You have to work 24/7. How female will come? I say, sir, government is telling that factory can hire females 24/7. Then why are you stopping? गवर्नमेंट को रहने दो यार, ये नहीं होगा, practically नहीं होगा. So this is what is the problem. But we keep on pushing. So they come with all kinds of excuses. We don't have change room for women. We say, sir, at our cost, you just give us space, we'll create one. With lots of reluctance, they'll say, okay, create one. Then after that, gradually, but I'm very happy that we have so many such stories where we have pushed and we have created very large presence of female. And in India, against our global 56%, we have reached to around 23%, which varies from state to state. If I come to North India, it is around 12%. And it tells what kind of society we have in the North Indian part of this part of the country. If I go to South, Lakeside, Chennai and all, 37% gender diversity. Because very important, as she was telling, that starts from home, from your society, the surrounding, the kind of atmosphere your society is creating, the state is creating, overall the country is creating, gets rubbed off, and that helps us in pushing that into the further. So definitely lots of struggle, but since all of you or many of you are HR people, first is you need to show that value to your CEO, that it's not only for some quota, sir. CB ने बोला इसलिए एक रख लेते हैं. Please don't start with that mindset. It really makes business sense to please start adding female at every level. It will improve all those parameters which I talked about, and that's why we must do it. And then of course you will have lots of resistance, because we have old school thought people, not only in your company, your consumers, your clients, everywhere, but you need to pick up those positive threads which are going to help you. I'll give you another example. Around 8 years back, I had just joined this company. I went to a very prestigious hospital in Delhi, and with my diversity agenda, I was talking to my client, who used to be from a veteran from a hospitality sector. He said, no, I would not allow stewards, female stewards. I cannot handle, you give me only male. Now again, look at the business requirement. Unfortunately, they had a bad incident in the maternity ward. In the maternity ward also, a male was going and serving food to the females. So they had some complaint by the client or the consumer that how come you are allowing a male to come and serve me food? And immediately that same guy started chasing me, that immediately tomorrow I need 5 stewards who are females. Right? So that's how, if your consumer is aware, if your consumer wants, demands, and you are aligned with that, you will get a lot of headroom to get that service.
I think, again, as women in workforce, because that's that's the segment I'm representing here today, I think we have a responsibility of creating that ecosystem, or creating that environment for women to come forth in their respective domains. I think, suppose if I am present in an organization, the minimal thing, or the minimum that I can do is to make sure that at least I am creating a conducive environment for the others in my organization to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel supported in whatever they want to do. Inclusivity does not just, it's a cause that we're fighting for women, but it just does not really affect us. It benefits a lot of other people, like, it benefits the non-binary, it benefits the, different castes, different religion. So when you talk about inclusivity, it, starts from maybe a gender inclusivity, but it goes on beyond, much beyond that. So I think the beginning has to be made somewhere. And as Prachi mentioned before, to be mindful of the inclusivity both at home and in the workplace is something that I think we should by and large aim for. Prachi?
I think as closing remarks, and I know Malini, you're on the clock here. So I think let's all just think about it, that how can we make sure that women are included in the workplace, A, And then when they are in the workplace, as Debjani mentioned, how do you ensure that their longevity in the system? And a lot of people from the HR practice talked about the entire employee life cycle. How do you map, onboarding to exit? How do you make sure that that period, the longevity of that period is fairly long for a woman employee? You empower her, you support her, and you ensure that she sticks around in the organization. I only had like one number, but Sandeep had like multiple numbers. And everybody here is either a business owner or is representing a business. And at the end of the day, as I so proudly said, I am a finance person. So numbers, they always make sense. So if it makes sense to hire women, why do we double think it? Why don't we give everybody an equal opportunity? And here I would like to add that please don't hire a woman just for the sake of hiring a woman. If the man is the more deserving candidate, please hire him as well. Let's not do this, that आंदोलन नहीं चलाना है कि भाई झांसी की रानी बन जाओ. I was there, I spent 20 years, I moved up the ladder. Every woman is going to go up the ladder. No. Please be very mindful, and this is a conversation. Shivani from my team is sitting here. I've had this conversation just yesterday where they came back and said, "Ma'am, we know you want to hire a woman. We'll get you a woman for this position." I said, "Excuse me, I need the rightful resource for this position. Everybody, a man and a woman. It shouldn't be that 5 years down the line they're sitting here and saying, "Oh yeah, men lane yaar, organization mein women zyada ho gayi." So be very, very mindful, please, because at the end of the day, we are an HR forum. It is the rightful person for the rightful job. Please do not have a bias. Give the rightful person, read my lips, person, the job. We should not be just advocating women. We should be advocating equality at the end of the day. The rightful person for the rightful job. Thank you so much.
Sandeep, closing remarks, 1 minute.
Same flight.
So thank you. In fact, to all my HR folks, again I would like to repeat, and as Prachi said, quota system na male pe lagao na female pe lagao. But let me tell you, at every level, right from a housekeeper to the chairperson, there is talent available in both the genders. Give them equal opportunity. Possibly in some of the quarters, you need to not only think of diversity and inclusion, also create some kind of equity. If the weaker one needs some support, create that support, because she has or he has the potential to reach to a level where she can start contributing. So please do that, and you will get lots of resistance. Don't get bothered about it. Just stay focused. You can get that.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Prachi. Thank you, Debjani. And I'll be looking forward to coming back to you all after this session and continue our exciting conversations. Before we close, a few questions from the listening. We have time, Uttashan? Maybe 2-3 questions. We have time. Any questions from the listening? There's a lady in black at the center.
I'm Gupta and I represent Icarus 3D. So we started this panel discussion by saying that there is a strong unconscious bias that exists against women. So my question is, in a corporate workplace, what actual strategies or practices can be put in place to understand, recognize and get rid of this unconscious bias?
Then if you want to answer that, Sandeep, I'm happy to. But
Sandeep wants to. Why don't you answer?
I think the answers are already in the discussions that have happened on the panel. Let me take some of the things that they have spoken about. One is to create a supportive ecosystem. So you can't, I'll give you my example. When I joined JCB about 11 years ago, in the manufacturing plant in Ballabgarh, there were more than 3,500 employees. There were less than 30 women in those 3,500 men. So there used to be days when I would go to office and come back from office without having met a single other woman. I would see only men. But however, it is interesting in a place like JCB because Very few women join, but those women who join almost never leave. So there's something that the company is doing right. And one of the things that I feel very strongly that the company does right, does not point you out and say you are a woman, so this space is separate to you. And I am full agreement with Prachi. Get the correct person for the job. And the more you isolate a woman or isolate diversity or isolate caste, the stronger it tends to become. So if you have gender agnostic practices, if you get what I mean, that is one of the ways, and that's something that the panel has spoken about. The panel has also spoken about rewiring. Debjani spoke about rewiring. It's often that biases don't sit outside anywhere. Biases are within me. I will tend to look for a certain kind of person. In my mind, I have already formed an idea that this person will be a man or this person will be a woman. So these biases sit within us. So we should be open to opening up our minds, rewiring that. Another thing is to think out of the box. Sandeep mentioned this amazing idea of just bringing both spouses to work. It accounts for a whole lot of issues taken care of and is good for the business. Now, the thing with something like this is when you are trying to take apart an existing stereotype and rebuild that stereotype, the tools that you have used to build the stereotype will never help you. You have to design your own tools. And there's a very famous feminist quote that I love, she says, you cannot break down the master's house with the master's tools. The master's tools are meant to build the master's house. So if you want to break down that house, you will have to form your own tools. And unlike an engineering company, which is where I have spent the last 1 decade of my life, there is no blueprint. Each company will have to find out what works best. What is the work culture that is there? And correct me if I'm wrong, Sandeep, I think a lot of the systems and processes help you. But the systems and processes could be your friend and they could be your foe. The idea is to rewire your mind and think out of the box. Would the panel like to add anything?
I would like to give.
Yes, please. You're the boss actually. I'm very worried about this.
I would like to just think if you want that to be removed, one is keep on talking about it. We have a concept called spirit of inclusion. At top to bottom, everybody is trained on it every year. Even if you have gone through it 1 year, again you have to go through this training program. So that means that spirit of inclusion has to continue to do. Then the other thing is you have to keep on looking for biases. Like recently there was a controversy when one of the political leaders called our president Rashtrapati. But actually the problem is all our designations are gender driven. In my industry, pantry is associated with a boy. We always call pantry boy. Pantry girl bolte hi nahi hai. Then laundry is man, laundry man, pantry boy. So what we did, we removed all these and we made all them as laundry associate, pantry associate. So every day you will start looking at that. So that spirit has to come in each walk of life. So that's the way you can try to gradually remove it. Overnight kuch bhi nahi hoga.
I hope that answers some of your questions.
Just want to comment, Malini, if you allow me.
Yes.
So I come from Indra and Mindra, and I think Sandeep nailed it that the conscious, inclusion sessions are very much required. We do it, for all the folks. And number 2 is the enabling environment. That's the most important thing. So I'll give you a small example for yesterday. There was a blue collar worker. She is a small child, and she used to come in the general shift. But now it so happened that the requirement of her work is in the shifts. And we run the crutch facility in one shift. And she came and she was literally crying, because I was the last post where she can make a request and she can get an respite. I am running a shift for her, a new shift for crutch. Her salary probably would be around 20,000 rupees, but the expenses which you're going to incur for the crutch would be probably more than 50,000 rupees. So that's the kind of, and I'm mindful, I know that some more female folks will come and will leverage the facility. But then I think we have to take this kind of, we have to create this kind of an
Absolutely. Spirit, that is the spirit we require.
Any more questions? There's a gentleman at the back.
Yeah, myself Puneet from IOL Chemicals. So I would just like to talk straight to Ms. Singh. That when we talk of DEIs and we compare it with the Western world vis-a-vis India, so we have a long list of wish list. Everybody wants DEI in total compliance to what is required in the industry. But where is the pull and push? What is stopping us?
So you're saying that we want to follow the Western world, if I hear you right. You want to achieve those numbers. What is stopping us?
Yes.
Alright. I think what is stopping us is A, we are still not the developed world, unfortunately. We are behind the curve by at least 50 years on everything. So it's going to take some time for us to catch up. I would like to say that is one. And the second thing is that look around you. We are reaching there. If you see the number of women today here, and I don't want to say because it's HR, because we are not HR. So I would like to say that, the change is happening, but nothing happens overnight. It's going to take some time. India is getting there. The story is changing.
But I would also like to disagree with the fact that the developed world is there. Because I've read a lot of global reports that they are far from the desired stats. So I think the world as a
collectively is looking to change.
So just to give you one glaring example of what Debjani told. In a country like India, we have 6 months maternity leave.
Yes.
In the US, it is not there. So we are far advanced than them, right? So, and there are so many other things where India has been far ahead of those Western worlds. If you remove the mythology where we say कि goddess सब काली वाली सब बहुत powerful thing, आप history में भी देख लो, we had so many warriors who were females, right? Unfortunately, we had a decline, but we are coming back, and we are coming back with very roaring sound. I mean, we are going to be one of the world leaders.
Thank you.
And I'd like to go back to your question in terms of the standards that you spoke of. My response would be the same as my response here. Build your own standards. Because the Western standards are not necessarily the best suited for anything outside of the West. It's done them a good job. But I would like to come back to us and see what is it that we have gained. We've had universal adult franchise from the day we became independent. But women in America had to fight the worst battles to be able to get the right to vote. So it's not always that grass is greener on the other side. We work with what we have, and let's build on that and build something that the world should follow instead of we following the other people.
Global stats are also showing that only 25% of the global CEOs are women. So it's a global stat, it's not the stats from India. So I guess we have a long ground to cover.
One last question maybe?
It's actually not a question. I just want to add one thing. I have a baby and she's like 10 months old now. I got maternity just for 3 months and I started my job when she was 4 months old, just 4 months old. Every person used to say, "Ki Shana, please don't do it, she's very small." But it was just for her. I wanted to set an example and I wanted to empower her, and I actually want to empower every single female that this is not just for you, this is for her as well, right? If you'll empower yourself, you'll definitely empower your own child, and obviously we'll empower all, like the whole world, that yes, women empowerment is something. Right, so this is just an add-on that I feel, I suppose that yes, female needs minimum of 6 months of maternity. Why? Because she's just gone through C-section, right? But yes, we have those I was like, yes, I am empowered enough that yes, I can work just for my child, for my baby, so that I can set an example for her.
More power to you. And I think this is great. And I think a lot of us, the women here, have done that. We've gone back to work to prove to ourselves that yes, we can go back to work. And again, I'm sure that there has been somebody standing next to you, supporting you to go back to work. That's very, very important.
Very true, very true. This was my family, and still she's there with my mom and dad.
Right. So I think Malini is saying her flight is almost taken off. One last question from the audience, please. Oh, that was quick. Yeah, she gets it. It's like, bingo now.
Hi, good evening. This is Sharma. I am representing my company Finucia. It's a fintech company. This is not a question. Actually, I just want to know your viewpoints, Prachi ma'am. Actually, Prachi ma'am, I just want to know your viewpoint on this. I guess in women and girls, how to manage the finances is a very inbuilt in them. Like if I talk about our mothers, parents, grandmothers, they used to keep saving money in the boxes of rice and everything. But right now, there are few girls and the women nowadays in the financial sector. Why they are not opting financial sectors?
Guys opt for financial sectors.
No,
they're very, very good.
No, so I want to get the viewpoint. What are the main points actually?
Financial, everybody understands financials and women understand it very well. I'll keep it very short and sweet. Pardon me for that because I do have her on site and you can talk to me. We can do a timeout later. Women are very good at finances. Please look at your mother, how she haggles with the sabzi wala in the morning. Free dhania nahi milta hai, so it's not great. So we are very good at managing finances per se. We give us a budget and we will stick to it, and at the end of the day save it and then buy something for the family from it. So I disagree with you, ma'am.
Women are great at the same thing I am telling you. Like our mothers and the grandmothers used to save the money. They know how to use the finances, but still, right now, why the girls are not opting financial services or the sectors?
In the interest of time, and I'm here and I'm a local person, I don't have a flight. Talk to me after this session. And I'll give it to Malini for close. Sorry, but you need to know that. Malini closes.
I am extremely sorry and I apologize to the entire audience. I have a feeling that this would have been a very interesting debate, and I'm so sorry that we can't, continue with this. But we're very mindful of the time. It's not only that Sandeep and I have lights, but there have been people in this room who've been sitting here since morning. So thank you all for your very spirited participation. Can't thank my panel enough. I think one round of applause for this very fascinating. Thank you so much. I already quickly updated you on what the panelists have said. I will come back here once again and leave you with this two thoughts. One is that you said that you went back to maternity after 3 months. Maternity is now 6 months. All of us had maternity only for 3 months. It's very lucky people who have maternity for 6 months. And let's not assume how long it takes for a mother to leave the child and go, because this is a hall that is filled with women in the formal sector. We are protected by law. But do remember that in India there are more number of women who are in the informal sector. So if you're in agriculture, if you're an agricultural laborer or a construction laborer, you're back at work in 7 days' time. Every day you don't work, you lose your wages. So let's be grateful for what we have. Let's build on that. Let's build on our own standards. Let's think out of the box. It gives us the opportunity to do very many exciting and unusual things. And with this thought in our minds, I'll leave you with another very favorite quote that I have. That a sword by itself is just a piece of steel, but it becomes a weapon of death only in the hands of the killer. So you have everything in your hands, but unless you move it or you imbue it with the power to break down something which is not working for you and rebuild something that is working for you, nothing's really going to change. So our message, the panel's message to you is start the change and be the change yourself. And with that, we come to an end. Thank you so much. Thank you, Premas.
enlightening words, and definitely I would say your session, this has made our day. So there are so many takeaways from this session. Thank you so much. And to do the honors, may I invite Arunji to come on this stage for the felicitation. Request Arunji to kindly give the memento to the moderator, Ms. Malini Gupta. Sir, may I request you to kindly felicitate Malini ji. Sir, may I request you?
You know, it's so important to dream in life. You know? And when we were designing this full day, this session was supposed to be the most powerful session. And we wanted to end this conclave on a high. Let's give a big hand to this panel. I mean, they were top of the class and brilliant. And for once, so many non-HR people there. So many Sandeep was somehow holding the fort there, so, which was very nice. And so thank you all for staying back. I think people who left after lunch, they really missed some real golden, some lovely wisdom out there. So thank you very much everyone for taking out time today. I know it rained in the morning. I was talking about it as a blessing. I think it still is a blessing. So let it rain, but we'll still meet. So that's important. Thanks to all the sponsors, wonderful people who really supported us. Thanks to all the speakers who came in. And of course, thanks to all of you. Before I end, the only little thing that I want to leave as a little thought is, again, part of our dream is the next year's PhD CCI North Region HR Excellence Recognition coming up. We have seen a lot of awards in the country. They are very, very individual based. These awards are going to be team awards, right? Because when we are recognizing individuals, we forget that there is a team behind them. These set of awards are all going to be team awards. So look forward to them next year. Our work in finding the jury for those awards starts tomorrow, right? So see you all in 2024. Expect a lovely evening of an awards night. Thank you so much. Thank you.